This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And you know what, folks? This is not San Francisco, but we're going to talk about a movie that takes place in San Francisco that's celebrating an anniversary, celebrating its 15th anniversary, which is really weird for me because I saw this film in the theater and it just seems like yesterday. I'm talking about Anchorman, the Legend of Ron Burgundy. And I have the absolutely gorgeous, stunning, beautiful Darcy Donavan on the phone with me today. How do you do, Darcy?
Oh, well, thank you. That's so sweet, Gilbert. I really appreciate it. I'm doing great. It's wonderful weather here in sunny California.
Well, we got a little overcast here. It doesn't know whether it wants to rain or be sunshine here. It can't make up its mind.
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Tennessee, so yeah, I get it. You never know what you're going to get, but usually in California, it's every day is great weather, even in the winter. So that's what's so wonderful about it.
I heard in California you guys panic when you guys are at a temperature that we could only dream of here.
Oh yeah. Now I'm going to tell you, it's ridiculous because if there's even like if there's rain, you know, like everybody just like closes down. I think everybody in California would literally like die of heart attacks if there was snow because, you know, it's different. And I've been here for so long, you know, coming from Nashville, Tennessee, it's like, I'm like, oh, everybody's off the road. So I'm going to go shopping. It's raining. But, you know, it's kind of it's a whole different animal because, you know, if the weatherman says, and then, you know, Tennessee, hey, you know, if there's going to be snow, then, I mean, every store is like they're out of milk and bread and everything. It looks like, you know, somebody ransacked the place. But in California, if it rains, they don't know how to deal with it either. So it's quite funny, you know. It's a total dichotomy of Nashville. But you know, I will say this: when it's Christmas and I'm able to, like, you know, be in shorts and walk my dog, and you know, I enjoy it. I love winter weathers, but
seriously, shorts and seriously, shorts and walking your dog in December. You know, we're bundled up here.
Oh yeah. I know. I get to rub it into my mom a little bit because, you know, I'm trying to get her to move here, and she's like, "Oh, it's so expensive there." I said, "Yeah, we pay for the weather." It's what I tell everybody.
Oh wow. Well, I'm from Fredericton, New Brunswick, here in Canada. I'm 4 hours ahead of you. Yeah. You know where this is located? Have you heard of this place?
I feel like I have. I do. I have met, and I have friends that, you know, have come from Canada. And I will say this: every Canadian that I've ever met is just got the most. It's almost like being back in Tennessee. It's just there's just a niceness. I mean, I don't think I've met one Canadian who was just I didn't really really like. Everybody's just got such a great personality and sense of humor. It's crazy. I'm not kidding. I've gone on vacation. You know, I have fans from Canada. It's just very interesting how Canadians are kind of, I don't know, they're like a different, it's just a different feel than anywhere else or any place else that I've ever, you know, traveled to or been. It's very nice.
I need to flip that coin over then. I'm inviting you down this winter to help shovel my driveway out. I want him to say, "Look at how happy she is."
Oh, you're cute.
You know what? Winter here can be bad because I remember I get up one morning to go to work and the snow was up to the door handles on my car.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mom's, you know, I've been in situations like that when I was growing up in Tennessee. And I mean, I just got to say, it's cozy and stuff, but you know, the great thing about being here is if we want to go to the snow, we can go to Big Bear. and have all that. So it's like you're near Big Bear, so you can go see the snow. You can go to Vegas, like 4.5, 5 hours. You know, we've got Universal Studios, we've got Disneyland. So I just I like it because everything is near, where you want to go. And we got the ocean. But it's sad because I live here and you would think I'd be doing all these great things, but it's like only time I really get to do it is when I have family coming in or friends coming in from out of town. That's when I hit all these places. But, I guess when you're there, you're just like, I'm here. I go anytime I want. So you kind of take it a little for granted. But it's just, California is just go, go, go. I mean, it's very different. When you go to Nashville, it's like everything's a lot slower and very fast-paced here, especially in the entertainment industry. So,
well, I want to start off here by saying a big thank you to Rebecca. Is she your manager or your...
Oh, no. Rebecca she's one of my executive assistants, and she's amazing. She's really a sweetheart, and she's on her game.
Yep,
She works with the best of them.
Well, you know what? I appreciate her hooking this up, and I just wanted to give her a little shout out here because I acknowledge that. But
oh yeah, I mean, and that's the one good thing. When there's no I in team, and anytime I'm working on something or working around people, you always have to acknowledge that. And I feel like that's thank you so much, for acknowledging her. I know she's going to be really excited about that. So.
Actually, it's interesting because it's interesting because there's no I in team until Ron Burgundy finds out too late.
Yeah, you're right. It's he's definitely a funny character, that's for sure.
But I appreciate Rebecca setting this up, so I let her know what I was going to ask you and whatnot. So I've been doing this podcast since 2015, and I got to say, I never thought back in 2004 when I saw Anchorman that I was going to be speaking with somebody from it, but here I am, Technology has made this happen.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I mean, it's different now because you can actually, you talk to people and I have a lot of celebrity friends that I've worked with and, directors and things like that. And that's honestly how you can keep in touch. Mm-hmm. And, I just got done working on a film with Paul Johansson, and he, just coming off Van Helsing, and he was in Dawson's Creek. He's done a lot of stuff, but Paul is such an amazing guy, and we had so much fun working together. And we keep in touch through Instagram. I was on live talking to fans, and then Snoop Dogg came on, and he was like, "Hey, Darcy," and him and I worked on an MTV show that he was doing, and we've known each other over the years. So it's just nice to be able to keep in touch with everybody, producers, cinematographers that I've worked with, because it's not like if you don't have the technology that used to be in the past. I mean, it's how are you going to meet all these people? How are you going to talk to everybody? Call them on the phone, every week or month. It is nice, but there is an upkeep to everything. It's fans want to know what I'm doing and all that kind of stuff. So
I just remember when I was in high school, there was still typewriters. A lot of people today don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, they had an actual typewriter. Because my mom had one, and it was so funny because they had this little girl on the Ellen Show. She's very, very smart. Like, she wants to run for president one day. Mm-hmm. Super, super, super smart kid. Yeah. And she basically, they showed her what a typewriter was. She goes, "Oh, is that an old xylophone?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it's too funny,"
Oh, she'd probably flip out if she's on an 8-track player. My parents still have one of them. Huh?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my parents still have one of them.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is that, technology is constantly changing. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, before we talk about Anchorman, I wanted to get a little bit of your background and what made you want to become an actress and get into the entertainment industry.
Ooh, well, when I was a little kid, my mom always called me a ham. She said I was a handful, so she said I was always like getting on top of they had a fireplace, my mom said that I would sit here and grab a fake microphone and start performing and doing things, and then I would mimic people on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest. I started out in music first, and so that was kind of where I started. And then, my mom put me in like beauty pageants, and we also started doing like charity work around Nashville, like going to old people's homes and, trying to lift them up. And I was just a happy kid. But I really think the thing was that the turning point was I won a beauty pageant, and part of the beauty pageant was that I got to go to do this commercial class with this famous, lady who was on TV at the time. And but she was like local. It was in Nashville. She was like a local newscaster that was very famous, and
Okay.
she was having this class, and it was like, since I won, I got to go free. And then from there, they were like, you meet all these agents and, all this kind of stuff. So there was 500 kids that went in and were meeting with people and all this stuff. And so I went in with my mom, not really having any experience, but I was just like, oh, this sounds like fun. And I was about, I think, 9 or 10. And then, I was probably 9. And the other guy was around 17. And he kept messing up his lines. And that started to really annoy me, because I was like, here I am, 9 years old. I already know the whole script, everything. And then he keeps messing up. But they gave me 10 across the board when we got done with the commercial. The commercial ended up being aired. It was a cat commercial for Tender Vittles. And so I ended up, ace it. And my mom was like, okay. And then all these people started calling her and, hey, she should do this. We want her to do this. So I did that, but I was at that time, I wasn't really interested in acting. I think because of the experience with the kid, because he was like, kept messing up his lines. And I still remember the commercial, bread, butter, Tender Vittles. We don't have a cat, but I know, but Tender Vittles had a special offer we couldn't refuse, but we don't have a cat. You buy 6 boxes and you get 3 free. We have a cat. That was it. And he would forget his lines. We did it so many times, probably like 30 times, that now it's like it's just ingrained in my brain some years later.
Do you have a kitty?
Which isn't that fun. Oh, yeah, I do. I actually have a cat. Yes, named Magic. I just adopted her. First time in my life having a cat. That was mine. Normally, there was one with my grandmother.
Does your cat keep you awake at night? Like mine does. I hear him go back and forth playing with assortments of toys.
Oh yeah, it's crazy because she's not like a normal cat. It's people meet her and they're like, man, your cat's not like anybody I've ever met. But my mom rescues animals and I rescue animals, and I also work with a lot of charities, especially that are animal driven, because they don't have a voice. And it's just crazy because she was we were in a production office, and one of the production guys was like, hey, this cat's like in here, and ended up asking me, hey, how do you feel about this cat has no home? It just came in and it's just off the street. And at that point, my grandmother died on Christmas Eve.
Ooh.
And so I was going through kind of grief and everything. And anybody listening, I tell you, if you're dealing with grief or somebody dying, if you don't have a dog or an animal, you should go get one, because I really feel like that was like a sign from God to have this cat, because the cat totally got me. It got me out of my grief, because I was kind of in shock when it happened. And then it really didn't, go in my brain like, hey, she's gone. until I got back to LA. And then it just I lost it. So the cat really helped me keep my mind off it. And she just, I feel like she was a sign for my grandmother, because the only cat I ever had with my grandmother was a cat named Tiger. Mm-hmm. And then when my grandfather passed away, Tiger ended up getting sick, and my grandmother had to put him down because the cat was very close to my grandfather.
Okay.
So then now this cat here, just right after my grandmother died, I think it was a month or two, and then this cat it was crazy. And everybody's like, you have a cat? Because I have 4 dogs. So it's just like a zoo here. But it's great because everybody can't believe. They're like, oh my God, your animals are so well trained.
There you go.
And it's really the people. Okay, just like when Cesar Millan looks at stuff, it's tells people about how to do train their animals. He's like, it's really people. It's not dogs. It's not the dogs or the animals. And it's true because I'm an alpha female, so they know don't mess with mama. But I give them a lot of love. If you give an animal a lot of love, but they also want discipline. And I think that's the problem. I think some people succumb to the animal's needs. I mean, no, animals want to be led,
Okay, I have a question for you then. I have a cat that likes to scratch up the door frames. I've got 2 different scratching posts. One that lays down and one that's one of those poles. He sits on one and sleeps on the other.
Okay, I know what you need to do. Well, on the doorpost, put some so it doesn't mess it up, but some kind of clear tape, something like that over it will help. But you need to get a catnip mist. And
I do.
Put that on. Oh, you do? You have a cat? You put catnip on it, and he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he rolls around on it and looks like he's high.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's like my cat's the Big Lebowski all of a sudden. Yep.
Oh my gosh, that is just right. Well, how old is your cat?
My cat's a rescue, so I don't know how old he would be. I've had him for quite a while. He used to belong to the family, but when my parents took ill, to get them out of the house with so many stairs in it, they moved into my grandparents' old house where there's less stairs. So I'm still in the house I grew up in, and my father said to me, he says, I'm going to let the cat stay with you so you won't be lonely. In reality, I think my cat was going to stay with me anyway. Yeah. Well, they had a dog they took with them, so I got the cat.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
You got the cat and they got the dog?
And I was fine because I'm more a cat person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like an all animal person. I mean, I've had every known animal, hamsters, gerbils. I've rescued bunnies. I've rescued lizards. It's just ridiculous. Everything. And it almost seems like everything knows to come to my home. So,
yeah.
I mean, have you rescued other animals in your life, or?
No. This animal was owned by somebody that wasn't going to take care of it, so he ended up at our house, and my brother and his wife had 2 ferrets that are now deceased, but they were rescue ferrets.
That's incredible. Ferrets are very smart. They are.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
I've seen them drag my sister-in-law's hairdryer under their bed. They had everything under the bed.
Yeah, a friend of mine had that, and she's like, I found all my jewelry.
Yep.
My friend Tina, she was like, she found they had ferrets, and she's like, I guess it built a hole in her mattress or something, or somewhere near there, and she was so upset that she said, I found all my jewelry at least.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Too funny.
So, I love all sorts of animals, like my DJ name here is the python hyena. I love snakes, and I love the spotted hyena. 2 of the most misunderstood animals on the planet, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, well, how do you feel about spiders?
I got nothing against spiders. I don't want them in the house, mind you, but...
I never really been. I try, like, listen, I love all animals, but I am not much of a snake person. I never have been. I don't know. They just creep me out. But like but I guess I would kill one or try to save it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like spiders like me. I should be the next Spider Woman because they bite me all the time. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get bit all the time, and especially on my butt. They just love my butt.
Holy cow.
What it is? I know. Isn't that crazy? I'm like, what is it about my butt? I keep getting bit by spiders.
Well, you can honestly say that spiders are a pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass. Yep, that's me. There you go. I absolutely agree with you. Pain in the ass. I'm gonna use that one.
There you go.
Yeah, because everybody goes, what is it about these spiders in your butt? I go, I don't know. Maybe it's because it's juicy and they want to take a bite out of it. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting. Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy is celebrating its 15th anniversary. It seems like yesterday I saw it in the theater. And I liked both of the Anchorman movies. I even liked the second one. And, it's like, what do you think of this? That this movie came all this way and is still popular?
Well, it's kind of like, I didn't realize how big it was going to be. I don't think anybody did. I mean, they did a lot of advertising, but it's basically a cult classic now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many movies out there that people go, wow, we didn't see this coming, or, it becomes something that I can't explain it. It's just one of those movies that will always, they play it every year on Christmas, and they play it during the holidays. I have friends go, hey, I saw you on TV, I saw the Anchorman. And, the cast was great. Everybody was amazing. And, one thing people don't know is, they did a lot of improv.
Yeah.
The script had a lot. That's one thing I will say I absolutely love about Adam McKay. Mm-hmm. He's brilliant. He's sweet. He's just an amazing director. I've worked with a lot of directors, and everybody has their own style. But I really feel comforting around him. He's just like a great person to be around, and you feel like, you're not stressed. He tells you in a way that's just very nice. Hey, let's try this. Let's do this. He's just an amazing man all around. And, he's a family man. He's got great kids, and his wife's beautiful. And he deserves all the success he can get because he's just one of those rare individuals that you meet and you're like, wow, what a really great guy.
You know what? Between Anchorman, I was going to say between. I was just going to say sorry about that. I was just going to say between Anchorman and the other guys, I don't know which one I think is a greater movie. I think they were both brilliant comedies by him.
Oh yeah, I know him and Will are good, good friends, but it's just like when you have that, it's same thing I'm working with my team, when you kind of have that familiarity and everybody on your team. And then when you work with other great actors or other people that, have that same vibe as you just make gold. It's kind of like how Friends became a phenomena, and everybody wants to, watch Friends, and they thought, oh, how great it is. But they really weren't that big or didn't have any kind of career. And then Friends took them to that next level. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like, but it was the camaraderie. It was that vibing that you get, and then it comes across on screen. And that's kind of how I feel about how Anchorman was. There was just a vibe on the set. Christina Applegate's a sweetheart.
She's got the most...
She's really sweet.
She's got the most gorgeous eyes I can think of.
Oh, yeah.
Her eyes are captivating.
Oh yeah. And even in person, it's even more so. But she's just so sweet, and she's just like, hi. We're all getting ready to go on set. Everybody's in the trailer, and just really sweet. But it was funny because you see all these wigs and mustaches everywhere. So.
Have you ever done a cannonball in a swimming pool?
Oh yeah, are you kidding? Of course. Much to my mother's dismay at sometimes. Don't get me wet, Darcy. Don't get me wet. And then I have to get her wet at that point. So jump in and bam, right all over her. And she was like, "Oh, Darcy, you ruined my hair and makeup." I said, "What are you doing? Having your nice hair and makeup at a pool anyway, Mom?" You know. So, yeah, I was that kind of kid. I was a big jokester. I mean, everybody keeps telling me, "Why aren't you a comedian?" I'm like, no. I could, be funny on screen and stuff, but being like on stage by myself and telling jokes and stuff, no. My brain goes too fast. So I would be like, talking about stuff and go, "Oh, squirrel. Yeah. Did you hear about this? Oh, squirrel." People go, "What is she talking about?" I wouldn't get any laughter. But, when it's other people or when I'm on a talk show or things like that, I usually can play off anybody. Even, like that in the movie, Adam's like, "Hey, try to throw Will off." I'm like, "How the heck do you throw Will Ferrell off? He's like the king of improv. He's like on Saturday Night Live. How do you do that?" So I did it. I said something off the wall. Obviously, they did not put it in the film. It was a little, out there. And so Will just, with no beat, he just came right back. He knew exactly what to say. He just, not a hesitation, nothing. I mean, he's brilliant. I got to tell you that.
I'm surprised that Black Panther cologne didn't take off after this movie.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, that was very fun. See, now if somebody would have been smart in marketing, they would have marketed that right then and there.
Yeah, because it works. How many % of the time? Most of the time?
Yeah.
I can't remember the number now, but it didn't sound very festive.
Well, do you remember the part where the girl goes, "Oh, it smells like," what was it? Big, what is it? Oh God, what is that? The gorilla smells like big. What is it? Do you remember the part where she's like, "Oh my God, it smells like"?
I don't remember, but I do. I just remember they were all disgusted,
Yeah,
and then they took him out. They took him out there and
King
hosed him down.
I think it was like King Kong's penis, but she didn't say penis. She said the D. So she's like, "It smells like King Kong's penis." I don't remember, but we had to do voiceovers. So she was in there doing her voiceovers for that part, and I was in there, and Adam was in there, and I just died laughing. It was just really funny because she was, dubbing over everything, and it was just really funny. Here we go. To her, it keeps saying that, so that's one thing I like about how Adam directs. It's like he kind of wants to see, what are you going to come up with? I really do like improv in a film because then I feel like it's a little more genuine. I mean, I definitely, because I'm a writer myself, so I respect somebody's writing, but, when you're in a character, sometimes, you get a feel for that character and then you just kind of go with it. So it's kind of like there's something on the paper, but it doesn't sound right for how the character would say it.
Okay.
So, I know Tom, oh gosh, Tom, in Green Mile.
Green Mile. Oh, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, yeah. So Tom Hanks, he talked about that. He told the director, this just doesn't feel right. What the character, I don't feel like would say that. So, he changed up his lines in Green Mile, and that movie won many, many, many awards and is an excellent film. So I just feel like that's the way Adam directs, and I just really respect that because you want your actors to have to kind of sell. Well, they do have to sell the movie, so you want them to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. So any kind of production, I always look at that because if you're working with a director or even a producer that's going to be hard on set, it comes across on camera for the actors.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad. And I've been there. I've worked with directors that, not going to name any names. I'm just going to say, I probably would have rather gone to get an anal exam at the doctor like 10 times rather than having to deal with these people.
Yep.
But you get what I mean, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, God. But that's with anything. Any time somebody works with somebody, I always tell people, you're going to deal with difficult people. You just have to learn how to, just cope and move on. And I was really, really thankful how great his directing was, because it definitely made that film. Everybody was just very, even keel, and Paul Rudd is an absolute baby doll. He is the cutest thing and the sweetest thing. And you talk about eyes, honey. He's got some cute eyes. I mean, Christina's got beautiful eyes, but Paul Rudd has got some just adorable eyes, and him and I kept talking on set, and he's just a real sweetheart. But
did he have his Black Panther cologne on?
No, thank God, because I don't think I would have liked that. But he did, I was talking to him, and do you know what he was going to do if he wasn't going to be an actor?
What was that?
I could not believe this. He was going to be a cartoonist.
Okay.
He told me a cartoonist. I'm like, oh my God, that's impressive. I can't draw worth anything. I mean, even my stick people look weird. So, me and my friends sometimes will play, or if I'm on a television show or talk show, sometimes they'll have me do funny stuff. And I always get the same question. What is it that you cannot, what is it you cannot do? You do all this stuff. What can you not do? And I said, don't ask me to draw you anything. I said, that's it. That's a God-given gift, I feel like, because I have a friend, he's a well-known stuntman, but he's also he's a sweetheart, and he is an excellent artist.
Okay.
And he's drawn his name is Steve Kim, and he's drawn art for me and things like that, and he is just amazing. And I'm thinking, how does somebody do that? We were playing a Pictionary with a bunch of my friends, and I had to draw a cookie, and people didn't know what the heck that was. They were like, what is it? They're like, is it a tire? What is it? It's a disc. It's a flying saucer. They didn't have any idea. I was like, how the heck do you do this? I couldn't even draw a cookie. So, it is what it is. But I own it. I'm like, yeah, I can't draw, okay? I mean, my family, the way that I've been grown up, is like, if you really want to do something, you can, but it's just not something that, that's not my God-given born talent. And I really feel like people are just given that they can just draw. They just know how to draw, and they don't even have to take any art classes or anything. So, if I wanted to learn, yes, could I? But do I want to? No, just no. But God bless the people who can, let me tell you.
Well, one thing that really comes across in Anchorman, I mean, you look at Will Ferrell and you look at Christine, especially Christina Applegate. She had some great outfits she had on, oh boy, like the outfit. Not only did she look professional, but how bright these outfits on. But I was born in 1972, so I remember a little bit of the 70s. And I like the fact that they don't necessarily say the Anchorman set in the 70s, but it really is. And
yes,
watching the movie, it's really interesting for me that I've seen movies fail at this, where they say it's set in such and such a time and they fail. You don't feel like you're there. And some movies like Boogie Nights, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, to name a couple, they really capture it well. Well, in the case of Anchorman, it captured it. It actually looked like the 70s. Now, did you get any of that vibe when you were on set with this movie?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the house that they rented, the way the house looked, it was definitely had a 70s vibe. And then, they had, all of the actors and everything had to get fitted. And you're talking like, when you're on a set, when you have Universal, Sony, whoever, they've got these just wardrobe departments that are just ridiculous, like just crazy. Every clothes, every costume, everything you could think about. So, I went into I can't talk today, wardrobe department. And when I went in there, they had me in several things. And, they were like, oh, we gotta make sure this, up to the hair, to the makeup, everything. Mm-hmm. I also think it's budget too. Let's just be real. I mean, a lot of these movies had a really good budget, and I think, you know, when you're doing a time period piece, you really have to put money into wardrobe. And I mean, I got to tell you, the hair and makeup, they were amazing. I mean, just what they did with Will and Paul. I mean, it's crazy. It was so, you know, here he doesn't have a mustache. Here he does. He did, you know. One minute he had sideburns. It looks like he's from the 70s. The next minute he doesn't. But, you know, they really wanted to capture the 70s, and the wardrobe was like, okay. I mean, everything they gave me was totally 70s. I mean, it was just totally like that. And, you know, you can see the way everything was done. I mean, everybody was on the same page, and I think that's really what made it work.
Well, you're an animal lover, so you must have loved Baxter.
Oh, yeah.
I was not ready for that scene with Jack Black, I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's too funny. And Jack Black, he's another one of my favorites. He's just a funny guy.
Yeah. Yeah, they had Champ. I'm trying to think of the actor who played David. It's David Kroger? Oh, boy. I'm going to get his last name messed up. Because I know he was in Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse Now. Very funny guy. Played Champ. And, of course, Steve Carell. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Steve Carell. Yeah, he's
off the wall in this film.
Yeah, and that, I mean, now I'm thinking Anchorman might have really catapulted Steve, because after that, he was like, he went on to that next, you know, that next level.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it was really just, it was just really kind of, like, I was just amazed, and I was so glad on how the public reacted to Anchorman and just how big it's gotten. Because, you know, some people know, like where my mom's from, they know, you know, that I'm her daughter, and she said they'll come up to her and they're like, I loved Anchorman, and they'll start quoting stuff to her, and she's like, okay. That's great. And they're like, hey, tell your daughter we'd like an autograph. My mom's like, okay. She's just, you know, it's a movie where you park your brain at the door and you just laugh, you know, you just have a good time and you laugh. And that's what's so funny, is because I can't tell you how many times I've seen the movie, because I've gone to, you know, between the premiere, between going to other locations, going to autograph signings. You know, they were doing several all over Los Angeles, and they wanted me to come in and, you know, talk about the film. And then I saw the movie over and over, and every single time I'd find something new, and I would just laugh hysterically. So there's so many jokes and so much good stuff that you could keep watching it over and over, and you're going, oh my God, that was funny, you know?
Yeah, it's David Koechner played Champ.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Fred Willard was in this too. Talk about another funny guy.
I love him. I've met him, and I haven't had the pleasure, like, to actually work with him, like, you know, like a co-star, like, you know, him and I together and stuff. But he's just a really funny guy. He's really, really sweet, because you know, see him at a red carpet, and, you know, we talk and stuff, and he's just a very down to earth, funny guy. So. Yeah.
No. Have you done any conventions for Anchorman? Because you'd think that, like, I just started doing the convention, so you have?
Yes, I've got. They do a huge one in Burbank, and then they did one in Universal Studios. The only problem is sometimes with my schedule, because I have several businesses on top of, you know, my film and television career, and it's just, sometimes I was just like, I'm so sorry, I can't. You know, I got asked to do one. God, where was that? I think it was in San Francisco recently.
Okay.
And, you know, I couldn't attend because I was already booked on something else. So, and that's the one thing, you know, because the Anchorman fans are awesome. I mean, they are diehard fans, and they are absolutely amazing. And, you know, I'm just glad to be part of, you know, something that's a cult following that has this it's going to be timeless, even in, 40, 50 years. It's kind of like, the songs that you hear and you're like, man, it's still a timeless song. Like Toto, Africa. You could hear that like, I don't know, 100 years later and you're like, oh, and I just feel like that's how Anchorman's going to be. It's just going to be one of those timeless things, especially in this day and age. There's so much. I am so sick of watching films like that, you leave and you're depressed. I don't even like to go to the movies that much anymore. I got a big, huge, 80-inch television in my home, and I'm just like, I'm not going to pay the money to go if I'm going to get depressed.
Yeah.
I have friends in town. We always like to see a comedy. Yeah. And I just feel like more comedies need to come out, so.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's one of the things that I hope, will, I don't know, keep coming out, because like every show that I see now, it's like somebody gets kidnapped. It's a murder thing. It's somebody's getting convicted. Somebody took somebody's daughter. I'm just like,
well, maybe those are comedies.
Yeah. I mean, I think I do think that, more things need to come. Like, I'm a huge Big Bang Theory person.
Okay.
And Chuck Lorre, I think he's brilliant at writing and everything that he does. And Big Bang Theory is just, to me, it's just like Anchorman in the way that it's just the wording, the dialogue, the way the whole story went, the way the cast got along. Everybody's friends on there. So they just, you go on there, and when you're with people you trust, you just make gold, so.
Well, when you're at one of these conventions or anywhere, this is a question I ask all my guests. What's the most unique thing you've ever been asked to sign?
Someone's chest. Okay. And they're like, I'm never going to wash my chest again. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how hygienic that is, but I told him, I was like, why don't we just take a photo of it? And then, you need to, I'm sure he's washed his chest by now.
Or he would have done what a lot of people do. Get it tattooed.
What? Oh, and that's what I was just going to tell you. So, yeah, that's actually what happened. I did have a fan get a tattoo, my name on his arm. And that was, I didn't sign it, but he tattooed it on his arm, so I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, you have arrived when someone tattoos their name on your arm.
There you go.
So I was pretty like, wow, that's cool. I was like, I feel very flattered, so I took a photo of it for him, and I kind of put it up on my different social media to say, hey, that was very sweet, but it was unnecessary. But I was like, that is very sweet. I gave him a bunch of stuff for free because I was like, well, he's going to have to live with me now till he dies. So here, I give him a lot of the stuff. But see, that's the other thing. Like when I meet fans and stuff, and I try to go above and beyond and let them know that I think of them as family, because they're supporting me, and I really appreciate that. I've just worked with too many people, and they just don't appreciate it. They don't realize that, how wonderful that is to have these, people that are, following your work of art.
It's interesting.
What you put out there.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I used to be a big Jennifer Lawrence fan until she came out and said that she's not going to do selfies with fans anymore because she doesn't know these people. But yet she'll be on the red carpet and have her selfies with other celebrities.
Yeah, well, I think too. Listen, I don't know about how. It could. The thing is if you got good security, that's the way I feel about it. Just in this time and age, there's been some incidences where, fans lash out, where they pull somebody's hair. Like in the case of Tom Cruise, they spit water in his face when he was trying to do selfies. So sometimes that's what you don't know. But at the same time, I just feel like, listen, if somebody's going to do something bad, I have no problem. I have 3 brothers. I have been tortured from them. So I'm like, somebody cut my hair, I'd be like, you got hair extensions, put one back in. You know what I mean?
Well, Tom Cruise is apparently, he's still good with his fans. But Jennifer Lawrence, I just kind of like, I used to go to everything she did until I discovered that. And it's like,
Yeah, that's kind of sad. That is kind of sad. And I agree with you on that way. If she does do that, to me, it's like, these are the people that are there for you. And, I had an instance, I'm not going to say the name. I can't tell you how many publications, how many television shows are like, please tell me the name.
That's okay. You don't have to. Don't worry about it. But what was the incident?
Well, I had a crush, a huge crush on a particular actor. I watched all his films. I watched all his stuff. I was just, oh my God, just crush upon crush. So as it turns out, if you would have told me when I was a kid, oh my God, you're going to meet this guy. You're going to, I would have never in a million years, I would have been like, oh my God, I want to grow up, So I was just obsessed with him when I was a kid. And then when I got older and older, and then when my career started to take off, I ended up working with this person. And it's just crazy because the image that I had in my head that made me so many happy memories as a child, and then when I met this person, it was terrible. It was like it ruined my childhood dreams and everything. Because, if he would have been nice and he would have been sweet and he would have just been a good person, I would have been over the moon, and I would have been like, oh my God, I used to have such a crush on you, and you, oh my God, but it just blew my mind, and I was like, I was crushed. And so I was like, if anybody has a crush on me or they're a fan of me or they like my stuff, I mean, I want their experience to be so awesome that they're like, she's amazing. I just, everything she does, I'm going to, you know what I mean? I mean, and if I see them or if I'm out, I always want to go above and beyond to do that for people, because I just feel like life is too short.
It kind of reminds me of Kevin Smith's experience with Bruce Willis. He admired Bruce Willis until he worked with him on Cop Out, and he said it was just depressing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for him because, when you look up to someone and then, and I can't tell you, like, my experience is, I mean, God, I could write a book right now, just all the people that I've worked with and what they tell me. It just seems like people always tell me they're dirt. But, I don't really care because I'm an honest person, and I'm just like, okay, whatever floats your boat. But I had another very well-known musician, very, very well-known, and he had a crush on a particular actress. He goes to a party and meets her, and he tells me he was crushed. Oh. He said, not only did she not look anything like she looks, and obviously he's like, listen, I know she aged. He goes, I get it. He goes, I'm totally cool with that. He says, but the way that she carried herself, he goes, the way that she did everything, he goes, it was totally nothing like how, I saw her like when she was on talk shows and stuff. And he's like, in the way she talked and the way she acted, he's like, it was just, he goes, it ruined. I mean, he says, I used to have pictures of her in my locker at school. Yeah. And I was like, oh, man. And just hearing how, gut-wrenching it was for him, and then my own experience, I was like, I'm not going to do that to my fans. I mean, I'm going to make sure they leave and they go, my God, there's nobody else that takes care of me like Darcy Donavan.
My big crush is Emma Stone.
Oh yeah, you don't like her, or you have a crush?
No,
on
her? That's my big crush right now. I followed her since Superbad.
I agree. She seems like such a sweetheart. I haven't got to work with her, but I think she just seems like very down to earth and very sweet. And I definitely think I really want to work with. Oh God, the girl who I just love. Like I would say, my girl crush. Not as in a lesbian way, but you know what I mean, like somebody who I just think is great. But is oh, and by the way, I love my lesbian fans. Just got to put that in there. They're amazing. But Emily, she played Khaleesi on Game of Thrones.
Oh, Emily Clark.
Yeah, Emily Clark. Yeah, I love her. Like, there's just something about her that is so adorable and cute. Oh, my God. I just want to pinch her little cheeks and just give her a hug. She's just adorable. I mean, she was a badass in that movie. But then there was another movie, like, something. She was in a movie where, guys, he was in a bad accident and he can't do anything from the waist down. And I don't know. It's just, it was just, she was in that movie, and she's absolutely adorable. And even in her interviews, she's just the cutest thing. I don't know. There's just something about her.
Anna Kendrick's another one I like too.
Anna Kendrick. Oh yeah. She's adorable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. I like the ones that are the real ones, and that you have a really. They just have this bubbly. That's the best word. Bubbly and cutesy personality. I also like. I'm also a huge. I would say Emily Clark, and then oh God, have you ever seen Vikings?
No, I don't watch television. I just watch my Blu-rays.
Oh, you do? Well, she plays on, that's a really good show, though, you should watch, is Vikings. I'm sure they have the whole season coming out, but she is the main girl on Vikings, and she is just a badass. Like, she's gorgeous, and she's a karate, like, expert, Catherine Winnick. And I'm thinking Catherine might be from... Do you know who Catherine Winnick is?
I think I know the name. I'm actually looking that up here so I can...
Yeah,
Catherine Winnick. Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. She's a badass. Like, Emily Clark is a badass in Game of Thrones, but then she also does these amazingly cutie roles that are just so cute. Like, she's just so adorable. You just want to give her kisses on her cheek and give her a big hug. and she's just adorable. And then, Catherine Winnick is like a badass. Like, she's just like... You don't want to
pinch her cheeks?
Oh, no. She's not the pinchy kind of cute person, I don't think... She's like somebody that you'd, like, go out and have a girls' night with, and if somebody tried to mess with you, you're like, okay, she's my ride or die girl, That's how she comes across to me. But she's just got that natural gorgeousness, and she's badass, man. So I would say those are my two people that I really, between, I would say girl-wise, that I just really admire. And I definitely cannot say who my one crush was, but...
Oh, you don't have to give away anything that was bad, And it's unfortunate stuff like that happens. I'm going to tell you, though, I've had an actress I grew up really liking, and I've had her on my show here twice, and she ended up inviting me to assist her in Toronto. She turned out to be one of those ones that turned out to be one of the good ones, Lisa Langlois from class of 1984. And she and I are good friends still for the past 3 years. So,
well, that's amazing. See, and that's what it's all about. I've actually had fans that end up working for me. that ended up. I've known them for a very, very long time, and then the management team vetted them, and they were like, they came aboard. So, and it's the same thing with Christina Applegate. She has a fan that ended up becoming her longtime best friend. It was a girl. So, that's the thing is, people are people, and you just, you just go out there and meet people, and that's kind of what I'm all about. You can usually tell when you meet somebody whether they're going to smell like a fart in church, and it's just going to be like, I don't want to be around this person.
You want me to be frank? When I do my interviews like this, I like to hear about real people, because to me the red carpet and the flashbulbs, it's so not my experience. I think a lot of it is phony. I think it presents something that does not exist in reality.
It's the same thing with like Instagram and stuff. I mean, there's a lot more depression and anxiety going on now. I'm very real. Like, I'm probably one of the realest people in Hollywood you would ever talk to, as in terms of just saying it like it is. And that's why I think, I have a really good reputation, because I just say it how it is. I mean, there's not, like, I don't care who you are, I really don't care. I don't care, you're Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, George Lucas. If something sucks, I'm going to say that sucked. That wasn't good. There's just a lot of people, I think, that they have different agendas, and they don't want to help people, and they think blowing out somebody else's candle is going to make them better and their flame. And, and I just don't believe in that. I just really don't. And I'm very thankful. I mean, what I try to do is there's people that I've worked with and, we keep in touch and stuff. And what I always do is if I'm working with a producer or director, because I'm going to be producing a show next year, and I've already got like a lot of other, celebrity friends of mine that I've worked with that I'm like, okay, I want them on the show. I want to bring them on the show. I want to do this and this and this, or, I want to have them play a character because you know that person and you know what you're going to get. I mean, I think it's ridiculous when you see in the news and stuff, you see these people like, oh, so-and-so, they're making a movie and the person shows up drunk, they show up late, and, you have to be professional. So the one thing that you've got to be able to deal with in the business is, rejection. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to handle it. And I think, having a tough skin is just the main component in being in the industry, because just like there's some of the best singers out there in the world and nobody will ever, know who they are because it's music, but it's also business. Mm-hmm. So you have to kind of have both. And the same thing in a film and television career. Mm-hmm. You've got to be able to handle rejection. You've got to be able to handle a lot of things that come at you and do it in a way that's, a classy way that you're like, okay. And understand that it's not you. It's just part of the process. Because one of the things that I wanted to tell you was, I have a dad who was a coach, and he's like, done a lot of big stuff in terms of with football and, working with college and just, he's gotten in the paper quite a bit, but he's definitely, he's hard on you on the field, but it's the same way at home. I mean, he's like, just because you're a girl, that doesn't mean anything. So I kind of grew up with that mentality. And then with my brothers, they're always, they give it to me and I have to give it right back to them. I'm in pretty much a male-dominated industry. And I respect the Me Too movement. I've had situations, but I feel like if you're a strong woman, you can handle it. Yeah. And you know how to deal with that. I feel like, it's just no different than in in the wild kingdom. You have predators. You have people that, you have animals that are alphas, and then you have the followers. It's just, even in a wolf pack, you have an alpha wolf. So it's just, even in the human world, I mean, there's people that, are not good people, and then there's people that are amazing people. But it's also strong from weak. There's a lot of millionaires who, they just had that determination, and I feel like it's also being able to handle rejection and just not to take things personally. And that's one thing I will say is that between my dad, being hard on me, and then my brothers, and then thank God my mom was such a sweetheart. So then I had that. Otherwise I was a tomboy, but then I would have been a total tomboy, like, not having I was the type that I would have like, little, I'd have glitzy, a crown on, and then I'd have this big dress on and little tiny frilly shoes, but then I'd be in the mud. I'd come back with mud all over me and snakes in my purse, or, this is a true story. I don't think I've ever told in the interview, but I was at church with my grandparents, and, they do the offering. So I always had offerings in my purse. And I ended up having I had dead worms and a snake in there, like a garter snake. And my grandmother goes in she goes, do you want to put some stuff, give to the church? And I go, yeah, I got some change in my purse, Grandma. So she opens it up, and it comes out in the what do you call it? The pew. And oh my God, I got in so much trouble. I cannot tell you. Just to see her face, she's like, "Why, Darcy D, I can't believe you brought this to church."
Reminds me of that Ray Stevens song, Mississippi Squirrel.
That's cute. Yeah, and that's how it was. I was just like a total tomboy. I still like that today. Like, I love to dress up. I love to do glitzy stuff, but I'm also, a guy's gal, I'm always around men, and, it's just in terms of, we'll talk about football games or, stuff like that, or baseball, or just in general. I usually tell guys, if you're dating this girl, don't do that. I'm like, that is so stupid. I tell people, I have a good friend of mine, Zachary, who, I sometimes have to give him, he's like a brother to me, and I have to kind of give him some advice and say, no, don't be doing that. I'm like, girls don't like that. Well, I think she would like that. I'm like, no, you like that. She doesn't like that. No. And that's just kind of the way it is. And with getting back to talking about, in the business and how, people need to understand that there is a lot of rejection, but I think it's good when people don't live in a bubble. And the one big thing in my life, I will always credit to my grandfather, because he was one of the sweetest guys in the entire world. Like, everybody loved him, and he had not one enemy. And one thing about him is I'm a little kid. It was probably between the ages of 8 and 10, and my grandmother was full-blooded German. Mm-hmm. My grandfather is full-blooded Italian. So, I would. There was a game that was a German game called Mensch ärgert mich, and it's a game kind of like Sorry, and we would play it for hours all the time. Like, my grandfather loved to play cards. He taught me how to play craps. At the age of 10 and 8, and so we were always playing this German game that was like Sorry, the game board Sorry. So we're playing it, and after probably the 150th time that we've played, he's like, and every time he'd win, he'd just go, ha, 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 like, just rub it in my face, And I'm like, okay, let's play it again. Sometimes we play 5 games in one night, because I was determined I was going to beat him. So then my grandmother finally one day, she goes, "Ach, Joe, let her win." That's my grandfather's name, Joe. So she goes, "Let her win." And he goes, "No," he goes, "she's got to learn to lose," he says, "if she wants to win." And that always set in my mind, and I tell you what, I finally beat him, and that was the turning point. Once I beat him, that was it. It was like, it was on, and that's what was so great, It's just, from there, anytime I won, I just tap danced around him, and I shoved it in his face, and so... It's just made me very determined, and that's how anybody that I talk to, say, "Hey, I want to know about the business," or, they're in it. I said, you've got to be able to handle rejection, and you can't take it personally.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Spacey. I mean, he couldn't get anybody to represent him or even get an audition for like 10 years, and then obviously, I hate all the bad, everything that's going on right now. But before all that came out, he was highly respected, and there was a lot of things that he did that were very impressive. And when you hear these kind of stories, and these stories happen all the time, it's just very. I'm very like, I'm like, good for them, But it's just anybody that's played in football or sports. I mean, guys know. I mean, that have played in sports. I mean, a coach isn't going to come up there and put powder on your butt and say, "Oh, you poor little thing, you didn't do it." No, they get on you, and that's kind of how I am. With anything, I'm just like, okay, somebody gets criticism or direction or whatever, I just take it and go. You just can't take stuff personally, and I think that's what makes a lot of great actors. And I think, too, why the industry is male-dominated, because, obviously we females, we get a little sensitive at times.
Yep.
And so, that's – and, when I'm around women, that's what I try to teach them, too, is to, empower yourself. And, there's no reason you can't be in your female energy, but also a male energy, to where, a man can have a strong woman,
mm-hmm.
but she can still be female. And I think that's the thing, is I'm kind of like a pit bull with a blonde wig on or something, The pit bull had a blonde wig on him. I just walk in, I'm very friendly and stuff, but people, I think they know, they're like, okay, this is somebody I don't want to piss off. She's very sweet, but she can turn on me. It's like my pit bull that I own, his name's Max, and he's amazing, but his bark And if he doesn't know you, oh my God, you better run, So I think it's just a good thing, if you're well-rounded and, and that's kind of what I wanted to see, even for the actors that we were talking earlier about crushes and stuff. Like, you want to see somebody who's well-rounded. And I kind of got a new crush now. I finally, after mourning my old crush, I finally got a new crush, but I don't want to meet him, man. I'm terrified. My assistant goes, oh, your crush is going to be at this event. I'm like, I don't want to go then. I'm terrified I'm going to be going, oh man, let down again, because every girl needs that. And even every guy. I mean, my mom said too, like Farrah Fawcett back in the day was like an icon.
Mm-hmm.
Like every guy had her red swimsuit on. And, my mom said Elvis was really big back in the day. And a lot of girls wanted to marry him. So, there's just all different types of, people out there, but they're people. And, I don't know. I think from having the childhood that I have, I think it was well-rounded me. And, you can tell, that's kind of on set, the kind of feel. It was just a homey, fun feel. It wasn't anything there. You felt like, again, you like to go to the doctor and get your teeth pulled out or extracted or something, because it was just, you'd rather do that than film a particular movie,
Here's a question I have for you. Now, I haven't seen this movie, but you get the lead in it, Mr. Thursday. Talk about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That is it's a psychological thriller, but it's similar to, what do you call it? God, I'm having a brain fart today. It's similar to the movie, Hannibal Lecter.
Okay. Silence and Lambs.
Yeah. It's Mr. Thursday. It's like, I was playing a detective in it, and it is a movie similar to the Silence of the Lambs. And, D.B. Sweeney and I starred in it. Okay. So, and D.B.'s done a lot of stuff. He's very, he's a very nice guy. He's definitely a methodical actor in the way that he does everything. And, it just comes across on film, just how great of an actor he is. But it was definitely kind of, how can I say, the hours could be quite grueling. I mean, by the time I got to set, and we filmed at night, and I mean, I didn't get home until 4 a.m. Okay. A lot of times, and we would start at 1 p.m. So it was crazy, but the crew were great. I mean, they really, really worked hard to make sure that everything looked really good, and it was a lot of fun. I like doing thrillers. I do. It's just crazy because people don't realize, you got to be scared, and there's probably 30 people or 40 people watching. So it's kind of like you're doing a live performance, but you're also recording it too. It's like you're doing, a music performance, but it's being recorded. So it was a different film. It was great. It was a little, I mean, when you're doing an emotional character like that, because I played the detective's daughter, the main detective, my father in the film. His name, he was Dan Davies. Dan Davies done a lot of things, and such a great guy. I mean, it's funny it's terrible when you're laughing and you're just having a good time, and then you have to do these grueling roles where people are getting killed, and there's something the director kept telling me. He's like, I really, really, really want to do something that nobody's ever done with you in this film. And I'm like, oh, really? So I can't give. It's one of the pinnacle points of the film, but it's definitely it's that crime mystery drama kind of thing, of whodunit. So I'm really excited, and I enjoyed working with DB. I mean, he drove in. Luckily, he didn't have to fly in like I did. So
do you like playing a lead?
Yeah, I mean, I've done quite a few things. It's really, how can I explain it? I don't really believe that there's a lead. Like when you're a lead, I feel like you also have people you're playing upon, like
Yeah.
playing a part with. Like, I have to play, a detective. So it's like DB was my husband in the film. So it's like, but him and I were divorced, and there's like our daughter goes missing, and so he's got to try to, he's got problems, and we're trying to find out who the killer was or where she is, because there's a killer also that started back up killing in this small town, and me and my dad are trying to find out, but then we're also trying to figure out who kidnapped my daughter. So there's just like all these different aspects going on, and you don't know what happened. And it was really good. Like when I read the script, I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. So
you also had some uncredited roles as well. Like you play a lifeguard in Tomcats, and of course you play a playmate in what I call an underrated movie, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, directed by George Clooney.
Yeah. Well, my scene was with Sam Rockwell.
Mm-hmm.
So, he was trying to pick me up to be his girlfriend, to kind of like, hey, let's go out and la, 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 la. And Sam was really sweet.
Uh-huh.
God, I've really been lucky, but like, I'm going to talk about the good people.
Yeah.
If you hear me not say too much, I'm like, but I have been lucky working around really good people. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're going to deal with jerks wherever you go. So, but I really had a good time working with Sam. And then George Clooney, when he was directing at that time, movie as well.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, he had long hair, which blew my mind. He had long hair, and he wore his baseball cap around, and he was like, okay, Darcy, let's do this. And then he was talking to Sam. And the one thing I will say is he had his like hand on his jaw the whole time, like really looking at everything, and seeing it through the camera lens. So he was extremely he was so focused.
Uh-huh.
Like there were people all around for these. I mean, there was thousands and thousands of extras around, and there was a lot going on. And I mean, he was directing me and Sam. I mean, it was just like, he's very laser focused on, okay, I need this from you. I need this from you. Okay, let's talk about this. What do you think about this? So it was kind of almost the same way as Adam, but different in a way. Mm-hmm. I mean, they come across, Adam's just kind of like, oh, he's your best friend. Hey, let's do that. I love Seth Rogen. He is, I just adore him. I think he's hilarious. I want to be best friends with him. I just think he is the funniest person ever. And just adorable too, And so the one thing is I just always think that when you're dealing with, directors, you just look at how it's a job, it's a business. They've also got to carry the weight of the budget, and the budget could be in the hundreds of millions, and they got to make sure, everything looks good on film. I mean, he was doing all these things, and you could just kind of see it going on in his brain. Like he was like methodically going, okay, I got to do this and this and this. And it was more or less like, let's get in, let's do this right, rather than, Adam's more like, I don't know, his personality is more, okay, let's see what happens. It's different. It's different, but it was the same. And as in terms of, I enjoyed, the directing from both of them. I mean, it's no different than actresses. Like you said, you like Jennifer Lawrence and Emma Stone, two different actresses.
Yeah.
Film and television actresses, but it's a totally different vibe. But they're still sweet, or so we thought.
Well, yeah, with Jennifer Lawrence, I thought.
Well, I hate that.
Yeah.
I ever see her, I'm going to have a talk with her, and I'm going to tell her that,
Well, it's just the thing, like, I get it, you don't want to be touched or something like that, but to say not doing selfies with fans because you don't know them, and yet go on the red carpet and do selfies with celebrities, and then go on to talk shows and say, not just your best friend, you say your best friend Amy Schumer. You're pointing out that it's Amy Schumer. It's like she comes off and she tries to tell people she's a normal person, but she's really not portraying.
I agree, because if you're going to say that, the only thing I can say, I mean, oh man, I know this is going to get in the media, But, we need to, I had a situation with a fan who found out where I personally live, and it was scary. So, the only thing I can think of is maybe she's like, hey, if a fan wants to get an autograph and they want to stab me or something. But to me, it's like, you got to trust your security. If your security's worth a hill of beans, they're going to take care of that. But, I think if she said, hey, I don't mind taking selfies. I just, just for my own safety because of what I've dealt with, I just, when anybody takes a selfie with me, they just, my security team just make sure everything's okay. And I think, what if she said that? Would that have been better, you think?
Sure, that would have been understandable, but just what I'm seeing out of her right now, it's just kind of like, I haven't gone to one of her movies in a while because of that, when I hear stories like this.
I agree. And see, and that's, I've seen that before too. I've had friends in the business who, were sweethearts, and, then they've got, a lot of recognition for a particular role, and their career really took off, and then they became a different person. I will say I'm glad that I'm not like that, because I had a friend that I grew up with. He was like, he kind of reminded me of my grandfather, the way he was so sweet and nice. He was chubby, he was overweight, but everybody knew him. His name was Scott, and there's a million Scotts, so I'm not worried about this getting back. But he was, not that popular of a guy, but he was on the football team, and he was quite older than me, and I was younger. But I remember I always looked up to him and thought he was such a great guy. And at that time, my dad, I think, my dad coached him or something at one point, and so he's like, "Yeah, I know your dad," and blah blah blah. And I was like, "Yeah," and I see him at the pool, and he was just always just so nice, and people respected him. Well, his father died, unfortunately. And when his father died, he ended up like not eating. I mean, he lost a significant amount of weight. He literally looks like a completely different. It's like, I hate to say, it's like Chris Farley turning into Brad Pitt. Does that make sense? Is that a good?
Sure.
What I'm saying? So that kind of happened, and I mean, he became like president of his high school, and most attractive, all this stuff, and he went from being this lovable guy that I just absolutely adored and thought was so sweet, had such a kind heart, to he just let his looks, he let the attention he got just go to his head, because popular girls were going after him, and I thought he became, I'm just going to say it, he became a dick. So I'm just going to lay it out. And, it always sat with me. And I was like, man, such a great, like, I had so much respect for this person, and now he's just an a-hole. So it's sad because, that's something that you have to look at. Like, I pride myself as, I absolutely adore Dolly Parton. Yeah. And I think she's the most down-to-earth, real person. And that's kind of, what I pride myself in being is, a similarity to her, as in terms of just being honest and real, and, giving that good Southern vibe to everybody. But that's the thing I get pissed off at, is because people are like, you're Southern, you have this accent and this and that. And then I go, yeah, but when I'm on a film, they're paying me not to have it. They're like, you didn't have it in the film. So, I'm a detective. When I showed up, I was kind of glam girl coming off the jet, but at the same time, then the minute the next day I got on set, I mean, I did not look like myself. I looked like a cop. And the director was like, Darcy Donavan is gone, I don't see her. And I'm thinking, no, because today that's not who I am. I'm a detective, So, when I do voices, it's like being, we got Halloween coming up. How many people love Halloween? It's just like Halloween. You're a completely different person. I like to use, I love wigs and, contacts to help me get, or fake tats, or whatever I have to do to become that character. It's so much fun, so gotta embrace that stuff. But
what's your memories of Tomcats?
Oh, I don't know how to tell you. Oh
I
my
didn't
God.
like I didn't like the movie, by the way, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If I tell you, oh my God. You know what? I don't care. I think it's a great. Listen, Jerry O'Connell he's a funny guy.
yes, he is.
He's a
Yes, he
very
is.
nice guy and everything. So I'm not going to take that from him. But I came up to set and they're like, hey, my makeup and hair lady was like, hey, go in the other thing. They're going to airbrush you because that's what they usually do. It's like a second skin, so it looks good on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So I opened the door, and Jerry Connell is literally sitting there with his butt down, like his butt, like I see his butt, everything. He's like bent over, and the makeup lady is literally like with where his butt is, and I'm just like, hi, and he just looks, he's like, hi, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the next trailer. So what happened is he got bit by a bee on his butt. Now I think I don't know how, I don't know if he sat down on it, but it was on his butt, and she was taking it out, like she was helping him with it. And that was a comical scene, let me tell you. I will never forget that.
Now, that should have been in the movie.
Oh, I know. I mean, I have so many moments I'm like, oh my God, where is the camera now? Holy moly. But yeah.
You've
Yeah, I
done
mean,
you've done a lot of television and so much television. So rather than get all into them individually, what were your best experiences on television and who you worked with that you loved working with on particular shows?
oh, well, that's a lot to list. So should I just name one or give you two or just the
Go with
best
one
of
or
the
two. Go with one or two or three. Yeah.
well, I would have to say Parks and Rec,
Okay.
working with I would have to say definitely working with Christine. On Parks and Rec, definitely working with Chris Pratt. Chris
Okay.
Pratt was amazing.
I've heard he's a nice guy.
Oh my God, are you kidding? He
Mm-hmm.
is like the best. Now, he did give me a little, like every time I show up on set, they call me the bag lady,
Mm-hmm.
big running joke. But you know what? I told him, I said, we have an earthquake. If something goes down, you guys and gals are going to come to me because I carry snakebite kit. I got this. They just laugh. But, he laughed at me because we had a different location and, we had our trailers and everything. But sometimes what people don't understand when you're filming, you're in a different location than what they call the base camp.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're like, we were filming near a medical facility and, they had security and everything, but, I'm waiting for my scene. And then, you have all these people walking back and forth. They're like, what's going on? You guys are filming something? I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, that's my favorite show. I'm like, yeah. So, when you're filming, you have to bring all your stuff with you because I hate to be like, oh my God, why didn't I bring that? And then you have to get into one of what they call a honey wagon. A driver has to be called and then you have to go back. It's just a big pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So, I had my bag and he goes, you got your whole bag in there? He's like, are you moving in? I said, no, Chris, it's the dead body. And he started laughing, but the poor guy, man, he was exhausted. Like, when we worked on Parks and Rec together, he was just exhausted. I felt so sorry for him. I said, we need to get him a coffee. But he was just really, really sweet. I really, really enjoyed working with him. And then I ended up becoming really good friends I worked on a show that I really enjoyed. My Name is Earl.
Okay.
And Jason Lee was the star of it, but Eddie Steeples, he was the black guy with the big, like, huge afro.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? Did you ever see it?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Eddie and I we just became best friends after that show. He's just hilarious and so down to earth, and he supports what I do, and I anything he does, I support it as well. So, I would have to say that was a really great experience because I just walked away. You walk away with these great memories, and you become friends with
Mm-hmm.
these people, and that's why social media people are like, oh, it's a pain in the ass. You got to do this content. You got to do this. But at the same time, it's just such an amazing thing that what, all your friends are doing or people that, you can tell them, hey, this is what gets going on. And it hits everybody,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody knows. So It's just, that's the one thing is, I'm really blessed that, everybody stays in touch with me. And I just wish there was more hours in the day sometimes, because I just, hey, let's go get some lunch. There's always just so much stuff going on in LA that it's just, to hang out with Eddie or, go see other people. There's just so much going on. So I sometimes feel bad about that, but they know that I love them.
Mm-hmm. Well, we need to talk about charities. We brushed upon it briefly here, but I want you to plug the charities that you're most passionate about.
Oh my gosh. Listen, if I could help like every charity in the world and really get things going, I would love to do it, like everybody. But some of the charities that I'm working with is the Wildlife Waystation.
Okay.
And what they are is they like exotic animals. I mean, the owner basically has the entire like side of a mountain in Los Angeles, and they have rescued tigers and lions and jaguars, gorillas, chimpanzees.
Yeah.
But also, just to see a huge bear with, chewing on a tree, that was an experience. But all these that have either been in television or film or that have been in medical facilities, where do they go? I mean, we have all these facilities for dogs and cats and things like that, but where do exotic animals go?
Yeah.
So that's what that is what the big thing about the Wildlife Waystation is, because it's one of my I would say one of the things close to my heart.
Okay.
Valley View Vaulters too. They're in the valley too, and the one thing about the Valley View Vaulters is they help like mentally handicapped children.
Mm-hmm.
Children that they said don't ever have a chance in society. They teach them how to vault, and anybody can do it, but basically they've won like medals upon medals, Olympic medals. I mean, you name it. It's the most amazing charity that I could say that I've ever worked with, just in the fact of what all they do. They also take horses that are, I mean, don't have a place to go, or people are like, well, I can't break this horse. This horse is, I'm gonna have to put it down, and they make sure that they take care of those horses. They train them, and then it's a win-win. Then they with the Valley View Vaulters, they also help these mentally challenged children to vault. It's so impressive. I can't even tell you. I don't know how to do it, because that's very dangerous to be on a horse standing up and vaulting and all that kind of stuff. It's really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also been working with she was Nellie Olson on Allison or Ingram, and she was Nellie Olson on Little House on the Prairie.
Okay.
And so she does a wonderful charity called protect.org, and they basically have veterans, war veterans that are either injured or war veterans that no longer work. They're retired, and to give them income as well as give them a purpose, they go in with their skills and they help children that are being raped, abused.
Mm-hmm.
There's also kids that are sold on the internet, and they go in, and I mean, it is just, I can't, I get really emotional about it, but it's crazy what, they see these children that are missing, they go in with their special skills and take them out of homes where it's very dangerous. And, it's just sad, the way the world is and everything. So I just always tell people, if you get a weird vibe, something's going, tell someone, it could save their life, and, Alice and I can't watch any of the footage that she had. What some of these people do, but there's like a whole organization of pedophiles.
Yes.
And they, there's lots of money that's involved in, pornography with these children. And so Allison's job is, with the other people that she works with, I mean, it's very impressive, and especially on what they're doing, because it's giving these it's a win-win. It's like with Wildlife Waystation, Valley Falters, and Protect.org. They're a win-win. They're helping, a horse, and they're helping a mentally disabled child. The Wildlife Waystation, people can volunteer to help the animals and help them, depression, anxiety, as well as, help these animals. And it's just such an experience to go there. It's amazing. And Protect.org, they're giving veterans, these veterans amazing, an opportunity, also a way for them to still make some income if they're injured, or if something, if they're not, they're not capable to go back because of, I don't know, PTSD, all these other things that they go through. And to have them be able to help these children and get them out of these situations, it's crazy. It's amazing. I mean, so I'm trying to get as much money as I can that I can donate. I have my book that's out called Darcy's Daily Dose of Inspiration.
Okay.
And with the money from that, the proceeds, I've been saving up the money to give to each of these organizations. And it's hard because I wanted to be like, okay, I'm just going to give one person a huge amount, one charity, but I couldn't. I was like, I can't just do that. It's like, what do? You got triplets. Which one you gonna give favor to? So
can I pitch something to you?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
You know what? I am involved with a charity, and here's what I do. And since you're into comedy, I've got to pitch this to you. I've got to pitch this to you. And you mentioned depression and anxiety. This is about that. Here's what I do. I pitch something to you, and in return, I will donate to the charity of your choice.
Oh, nice.
Now, what I'm pitching to you does not involve money. It involves awareness. Remember the Ice Bucket Challenge?
Oh, yeah, the Ice Bucket, yes.
Okay.
I did it, by the way.
Huh?
I did it, by the way.
Well, I hope you do this one, too, because I've been trying to get the industry involved, and I've had a few of my guests do it. Okay,
it's not involving eating a bug or anything, right?
No.
Okay, we're good.
After Robin Williams left us, another charity challenge came up called the Doubtfire Face Challenge. And it involves taking a pie in the face, and you nominate 3 people. And I did this, and I threw it out to some of my guests, and I've had a few of them do it. And I would put their videos up on my YouTube channel so people can see it. And I was wondering if I could pitch that to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do a pie in the face, Hey, I got ice, like, the people on my team really like to mess with me and put me in situations because they just want to see how I would react. So we're talking ice numbing, like it wasn't cold water. They had to go the extra mile and put ice on it. Like literally, I'm like, I couldn't talk. My teeth were chattering so bad, and they're just laughing and laughing. I'm like, oh, okay, if I'm doing this, everybody else better do this too. But I took it like a champ, so I could take this. It's just eating the bugs and stuff, like I see on, some of these shows. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
No, I wouldn't ask you to do that. But something tells me a pie in the face wouldn't faze you. So.
No, I've got brothers. Remember? So that's a walk in the park for me.
well, I'll tell you what. Do a Doubtfire Face challenge.
Okay, hold on. So is that the hashtag Doubtfire?
Yeah, Doubtfire Face. Yeah.
Doubtfire Face? Okay.
Yeah, Doubtfire Face challenge for suicide and depression awareness. And just video yourself, take a pie in the face, and nominate. What's that?
Okay. For suicide and depression.
Yeah.
Okay.
And nominate 3 people. Nominate 3 people from the industry. It sounds to me like you know some people that might do it from the industry. Because I'm trying to get this out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the deal. I'm going to have to see, because some of them are big wussies. I give them a hard time. I'm like, oh, we don't want to get our hair messed up now, do we?
Yeah.
And like, yeah, Darcy. I'm like, oh, God,
Yeah.
They just tell them like it is. I'm like, come on, pull your big boy panties up. It's not that cold. Come on. I don't know if Adam did it or not, but I tried it for the ALS. I tried to vote for him and Will to do it, but I don't know if they did or not. I think they might have, but yeah, I had to nominate a lot of people for that, and then luckily they did. Some of them did it, and I got to call them out. I was like, "You're a big wussy, then." Hey, you know what? Let me try. I'd like to try to get Snoop Dogg. Let's see if Snoop Dogg will do it.
Sure. Yeah, you can nominate 3 people, or you can nominate more. I had one person nominate 5 people, so.
Okay, well, we'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah, when I originally did it, I was like, I wonder if I can get this to Emma Stone, because she'd be perfect. But I don't think she would hear a little person like me. But I did get some of my interview guests doing it. So, hey. And I'm not asking people to do something I didn't do myself. So.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I agree. So I absolutely agree.
But I've had a few situations where I would donate to their charity, and then they neglected doing the Doubtfire Face challenge, and I never got that. And it's kind of, I had somebody that does up my videos tell me, he says, Greg, you got to stop donating to these charities if they're not going to come through. And really, I'm not asking for money.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't get that. But for those that have done it, great, So, yeah.
That is really amazing. Did you start that?
No, I didn't. I wish I could say I did, but right after the Ice Bucket Challenge, this one came up, and I've been trying to number one. I was never nominated for the Ice Bucket Challenge, but I don't know. It looked dangerous because I watched Stephanie McMahon have 2 fighter women pour an ice bucket over her head, and the ice was just bouncing off her back. And I get it, she's Stephanie McMahon, but still, that's gonna hurt.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, it didn't feel good when I did it. Let me tell you, I did not enjoy it at all.
Whereas
I had multiple people throwing it at me.
Wow.
And ice was in it, so
Whereas a pie in the face is actually a lot more funny.
No, it is, but it's easy. Well, yeah, it's easier for a guy, I think, than a girl.
Actually, I've had more women do this than guys.
Really? Well, yeah, because the women have the cojones to do it. The guys are like, I don't know how I want to look, but the girls will do it. But that says a lot because you got your hair and your makeup and all that kind of stuff, and guys pretty much have it easy. They just take it off, go shower. So. Yeah, I will have a lot of respect the more men that do this. So we'll see how that happens. I will talk to my fans about it too. I think they will be extremely interested to get involved.
Yeah, I actually have admiration for women that do this because women tend to play with their appearance more than men do.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the way it is. Women are that kind of that we're just like that. We're creatures that we want to look good, and men are very visual creatures. Mm-hmm. So you see like a woman that is like a 10 plus, and she's like, oh my God, I got a little, I think I have cellulite, and she's perfect in every way. And then you've got a guy that he's like in a Speedo, and he's got like this huge belly, and you can't even see his Speedo, and he's just like strutting his stuff, man. He's like the hottest thing that ever walked the planet. So it's just interesting how that works. Mm-hmm. A lot of women, they get messed up about that, and and even when people cheat and stuff like this, I'm like, they get really angry at like the mistress or the the woman or even the guy that somebody cheats on. I'm like, listen, if your significant other is with you and it's their fault just as equally, because, I could right now, like, put my animals, like, they could go into a mansion and go, hey, this person could be, giving them everything that they want, and then the next thing you know, they're like, well, I don't want to stay here because I know how good I have it at mom and all that love and attention that I give her.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. That's what people, I think, need nowadays.
Okay.
They need a lot of love and heart is what we need.
Well, suicide, especially depression, is not taken very seriously. So,
Oh no, I've struggled with it. I mean,
yeah.
I get, what makes me mad is, you have these actresses and they want to, be politically correct and all this kind of stuff. And there's a particular actress that was on the Ellen show, and she's just like, oh, I take this stuff for depression, but just only the bare minimum. Just like, it's not like it was a bad thing. And I'm like, it's no different than people taking, for seizures or diabetes. I don't like the term mental illness. Anybody that knows me or interviews me knows that. I don't believe in mental illness. I believe your brain is sick. It's like broken.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem. And when you say, hey, the brain is broken, it sticks a little more because, when somebody says mental illness, there's a stigma attached to it, kind of like how it used to be, I think, in the 80s with AIDS and stuff.
Yeah.
It had a bad stigma, and, people thought all these horrible things. Well, it's kind of the same thing with this. And I just think that people need to open up their awareness a lot more. And, it would make the world a lot better place, let me tell you.
So, what? I know you're passionate about animals. I'll donate to one of your animal charities. What one would you like me to make a donation to?
Oh, well, that's sweet. I would definitely say the Wildlife Waystation.
What's it called? The Wildlife what station?
Waystation. The
Like-
Wildlife Waystation.
So, how you spell that part? W.
It's Wildlife, WILDLIFE, and then Waystation, WAY, like way, and then station.
Oh, Waystation. Okay.
Yeah, and they're just I can't tell you how Martine Collette, the one that was the founder and everything of Wildlife Waystation, she's a remarkable woman. I mean, she is a tough lady who is she oozes with class and just such compassion that you're just like in awe to be around her for all the things that she's done. And I mean, she's very well known in the business because, like in the days of Elvis and all that kind, all these people would buy all these exotic animals. And she said, then, you got you think a little tiger cub is cute, but then when you got this thing ripping apart your sofa and,
Yeah.
tearing up your home and stuff, that's what they're used to. That's kind of their natural habitat. So it's like their natural instinct. And so then when it got out of control, they didn't know who to take it to. But it just built over the time, it was like reptiles and such and, small birds. And then it just kept getting bigger and more and more and more. And I can't remember precisely, but Martine was married to I think it was a very wealthy television director, I think, or a producer.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's how she kind of got into that because then people knew her and her husband and, she just started building and building and building and where now it's on the side of a huge mountain. So, and they have tours and stuff to support the animals. So if anybody comes into Los Angeles, they should set up an appointment to go to the Wildlife Waystation, and say, Darcy Donavan sent me here and, I want to come and see all the animals and go on the tour. It's a fascinating tour.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make a donation to this charity in exchange that you do a Doubtfire Face challenge.
Okay. Well, I will do a Doubtfire Face challenge for Wildlife Waystation.
I'll make a donation to Wildlife Waystation. You do a Doubtfire Face challenge for suicide and depression awareness and nominate people in the industry. So
I will do it.
Yeah. So you want me to be in contact with Rebecca over that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, when I'm not in town, she's kind of the go-between, or sometimes, Ann her name's Ann Gozum. Sometimes, she'll be handling things, but most of the time it's going to be Rebecca.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be in touch with her. I'll let her know when I made the donation.
Okay, well, absolutely. How about we do this? I'll do the pie first. I'll send it to you, and then I'll just trust that on good faith you'll send it to Wildlife. But you got to tell them that Darcy Donavan sent you.
You know what? I'll do that. I'll do that.
Why do you do that? Okay, great.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, that'll be awesome. That sounds great.
Now the video you taking the pie in the face, is that going to be sent to Rebecca, to me, or how's that going to go?
Yeah, I would probably say, Rebecca will handle it and just, send it to you after I have my editors, work on it. And
okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
So.
All right. That sounds great.
Ready to go.
Well, you know what? I couldn't resist asking you because just your demeanor and the fact you love comedy. So I had to pitch that.
Yeah, absolutely. And hey, I would love to do it. Anything for a cause, I'm there. I just, like I said, I have just such a deep respect. And any of the listeners, if, they want to do the same thing and, go to Wildlife Waystation and say, hey, Darcy Donavan sent me, that would mean the world to me. So, if they do that and they let me know about their donation, I will send them something special in the mail just for them. For your listeners, if they do that.
Well, you know what? I'm going to let them know. Is there a place on there where I can let them know that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have all my social media. I'm on there I work pretty much nonstop. So it's like my fans or my family. I call them the Donna family. So
okay.
If somebody does that, they can also go to my website, darcydonavan.com, and just, email us and said, hey, wanted Darcy, to know, that I donated. That would be great. I mean, I would be over the moon. So,
well, I'm going to let them know. I'll do that.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. Okay. Well, we'll do that. Well,
thank you, Greg. I had so much fun talking to you. You were such a sweetheart.
Well, you know what? I really like that. I've heard podcasters say they hate working through people to do an interview, but I never really had a problem with that, and Rebecca was great. She was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. You've got to have people that work around you. That's my big thing in business.
Yeah.
I'm always nice. I always try, and everybody else on my team is, and they call me Mama Donavan, so they don't want to piss me off. It's not good, but my fans are so loyal. They're so amazing. I just can't even tell you. I'm literally floored. I mean, so, anything that anybody out there does as my appreciation, I will absolutely, they donate to Wildlife Waystation. I will definitely, do something for them, because that's a big deal to me. Like, and I hate that because the Valley View Vultures and Protect.org are so big to me as well. But, I'm just going to keep pushing and pushing. And, my goal is to at least get them at least $20,000 checks a piece.
Okay.
That's something I would really like to do. So
okay.
You gotta think big, but I'm definitely really excited on the new things that are going to be happening, and the television show that I'm going to be producing and starring in 2020. We are going to be tying charities to it, so I'm really excited.
Okay, perfect. Well, I look forward to your Doubtfire Challenge, and you can look forward to me donating to the Wildlife Waystation.
Well, thank you so much. That is so sweet of you to do that, Greg. You are just a doll. So,
well,
God bless you.
I figure if they're going to do that, I don't mind making the exchange. I don't mind that. I just hate it when people flake off on me with it, and so
yeah, and that's the thing too. Your word is everything in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And even that's the other thing. I also, if you go to darcydonavan.com, Every month there's a VIP support area, and I have like master classes, but I also have like questions and answers like in business, or if somebody has depression or anxiety, or if they want to lose weight, or, how to get what to do in the business, what are some things. It's kind of like having your own like master class that you can keep looking over and over again, but you get your own questions answered personally. So that's something that I do for like I call them my VIP supporter fans. And, all my fans I love. But, I just recently gave away two $2,000 mattresses from puffy.com.
Okay.
Pretty awesome. And there was another girl that she did, they wanted, like tags, and they wanted you to follow them and all this stuff on Instagram. And another girl really worked hard, another fan. So I just told her, I'm going to just give her a gift coming, out of my own pocket, because I want her to have something, because her effort was so awesome. So I am going to be giving away some jewelry from another company, but I mean, I do giveaways all the time, because that's my way of saying thank you to the fans too, but it's products that I use. I hate it when somebody's just hawking some cheap crap and because they got paid for it, And then
you mean like Black Panther cologne?
Yeah, no, I would not. No. It probably smells like deer urine. If you've ever smelled that, oh my god. Oh, I dated a boy when I was in high school, and he was an avid deer hunter with his dad, and I always told him, I said, man, you got this earthy kind of you need to get some new cologne. And he was like, okay, so he got some cologne, and like I have anybody that knows me. That is the thing that everybody has a super sense. It's either their eye, their ears, they can hear, they listen, or it's their nose. My nose is, I would put a bloodhound. I could be one of those dogs that, smell everybody's suitcases when they go in to see if there's any drugs in there. I mean, people go, how the heck did you smell that? It's like 3-4 miles away, like if, there's a fire or something. And so... I'm excited because I love cologne, or perfume that's really good. Like, I just love it. And I was like, oh, you're going to get yourself some cologne? And he goes, yeah, I'm going to get myself, I just got this new cologne. I want you to smell it. Now, you got to understand, I took a big whiff, like I'm talking huge whiff of this. I was like, oh, I want to smell it. I'm thinking, oh, it smells like Polo. What does it smell like? Red Door. I sniffed it so hard, and it was deer urine. Oh. I literally passed out. The only way I can tell the listeners how it smells, that people that don't know what it smells like, it's like pure ammonia. Just think if you just put ammonia up to your nose, tinted with a little bit of musk smell to it, like, I don't know, musky smell. It was terrible. So I was just like, oh my God. So he did a joke on me, but I was just like, oh my God. And he thought that was so funny, So to me, Black Panther might smell like that, because the joke, the running joke of the whole thing. So that's the one thing I've got to say is that, it's just, I just think that the running joke and like the pleats in my pants, part.
Yeah. Party in my pants.
The party in my pants. I mean, that's some funny stuff, man. You just can't. You can't. And then when that happened to me, I was just like, that's what I would think that it would smell like, And yeah, and please make sure that no one tries to smell ammonia, because it's really bad for you. So somebody out there, don't smell it, but you can obviously smell how bad ammonia is, right? When you pour it in water and stuff. Yeah, I don't want anybody smelling it. So do not do this at home, people. So have to make that clarification. But yeah, it was pretty potent. It knocked me literally off my chair, and my boyfriend at that time just laughed and laughed. He thought it was so funny. Oh, ha, 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 ha. And I was like, oh, my God. He's like, oh, that's a deer urine. I'm like, because I asked him what it was, and I just thought, oh, my God. So the Black Panther, He goes, it stings the nostrils.
Yeah.
And that's just what comes to me every time I see that part. And I just would laugh and laugh and laugh. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
And watching Christina Applegate beat up Will Ferrell was pretty funny, too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I told you, there was a lot of improving in that whole, and through the whole thing. And that's what I really respect about Adam, because that to me is what made it more realistic.
Mm-hmm.
There are writers in town that they get offended if you go off script or if it's not word for it. And I just think that's ridiculous. I feel like, if you've got, sometimes when you're writing things down, it's different when you're having a conversation between somebody, you're going to have these little quirks and little things that you do. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So, and that's kind of how I feel with everybody else. I feel like there just needs to be a leeway for, the professionals that really know what they're doing. We all know that when we're acting and we're on film, you just got to be ready for whatever happens.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, you know what? When this does, when I do send this to Rebecca and whenever that's ready, pitch it to Adam McKay. I'd love for him to hear it, and he'd be more than welcome to come on my show if he likes what he hears. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Before huh?
Oh, yeah, I definitely. Adam's got a great sense of humor, but I can't tell you, this man, I don't know, he's so busy all the time. It's just insane,
mm-hmm.
which I can't say anything because people say that about me.
Oh.
So they're like, because my mom gets mad at me. Well, I haven't heard from you. What's going on? Or, I was like, are you dead or alive? And I'm like, Mom, I've just been really busy. And there's a time difference from LA, just like in Canada, there's a time difference in Nashville. And so, there's times where, I'm like, well, Mom, I figured you'd already be in bed. I didn't want to, or it's too early because, call times can be as early as 4 a.m. on sets or 2 a.m. You got to be there. And then getting hair and makeup, they do all that padding, because it's obviously things happen, so you got to, once you're on set, you got to be ready to go. Boom, and do your thing.
Well, before I let you go, I'd love for you to do a plug for my show.
Okay. Hi, I'm Darcy Donavan, and I'm with Greg Gilbert, listening to Python's Paradise, New Brunswick, Canada, celebrating the Anchorman 15th anniversary.
Yes. I'm going to say, stay classy, Darcy. Stay classy.
You would say stay classy, Canada?
Stay classy, Canada. Yeah. Well, if the political situation's going around here in North America, I don't know whether classy is how we want to say it.
I get you. Well, did you want me to do it one more time, or are we good?
We're good, but if you want to do it again, go for it.
Yeah, I'll do it one more time.
Sure, go for it.
Hi, my name is Darcy Donavan. I'm listening to Greg Gilbert's Python's Paradise in New Brunswick, Canada, for the Anchorman 15th anniversary. Woohoo!
There you go. Well, you know what, Darcy? It was a delight to talk to you, and yeah. And, when you get any other projects coming up or whatever, don't hesitate to reach out again, Oh,
well, thank you, Greg. I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
And, come to Canada, and there's anything when I definitely have projects all over. I will definitely come down to your station, or I'll invite you on set, and you can do some fun stuff there too. Like
promote Black Panther.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Get that out there for all the women of the world to have a whiff of. Well, thank you, Greg. I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll try to get that to you as soon as I can, okay?
Thank you so much. You take care, and God bless you, Darcy.
You too, Greg. You're a sweetie. Take care.
Stay classy.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.